Stand back. Everyone needs to clear the area right now. Give us space. Everything is fine right now. When I finally got inside, I asked if he explained what actually happened. He told me absolutely nothing. The poor guy could barely even speak. Okay, please, just let me see him. He's going to completely panic without me around here. That's my boy. Please. Where exactly did the shooting happen? I have no idea. I just walked out the door. Hang on. Quit talking to everyone. When the Saint Petersburg Police Department fielded reports of heavy gunfire the evening of December 29th, 2022, responding officers rushed over. They found 15-year-old Zakiro Lofton collapsed and bleeding heavily right by a nearby gas station. Everyone, get back right now. Step away. Hey, the victim's over here. Shot in the back shoulder. Move back. Clear the area right now. Move. Clear out. Everyone needs to step back. I see exactly where the injury is. Step back. Keep away. Everyone clear out. You need to back away right now. Listen to my voice. Look here. Help is arriving very soon. Zakiro had completely collapsed on the hard concrete, desperately gasping for air and choking on his own blood. For the paramedics, it was immediately clear the boy had taken several direct hits. Medics and police fought desperately to save the teen, but the massive trauma was just too severe to fix. Okay, I know it hurts. Does it hurt? That pain means you're going to be fine. Keep your eyes open. Just do what you have to do. Making the brutal investigation even harder, word of the crime spread rapidly. A large crowd of curious locals and the victim's frantic family swarmed the streets for answers, turning the active crime scene into a totally chaotic nightmare. Where did it actually happen? Right here. Did the gunman leave? I really have no idea. They ran off in that direction. They sped off. No, they were definitely on foot. We just walked outside and saw a whole group of them clustered together on the corner. Did anyone actually see the shooter? No, we just saw him get hit. We're trying to find the suspect. Where exactly was the gunfire man? I was fast asleep. I heard the shots, but nothing else. Hey, everyone pause for a second. Just show me where the gunfire started. He's still breathing and talking. The ambulance is taking him now. Hey, Kiki, look at me. You need to help us figure this out. Out of this massive crowd, you're the only person right now giving me any real answers. We honestly missed the entire thing. We dropped down to the floor inside and just heard that he got hit. He's breathing. He's pulling through. You know he's a strong kid. Kiki, I know. So just talk to me. Tell me what we missed. Young Zakiro Lofton was still desperately clinging to life in those critical moments. The family's absolute worst nightmare came true just hours later, when the teenager tragically died from his brutal gunshot wounds at the hospital, without any prime suspects. Investigators started pulling evidence and interviewing witnesses. Meanwhile, the real shooters had already vanished into the darkness. It did not happen here. I promise, it was much further down the street from us. The gunfire started down that direction, and he just ran up here. I clearly saw 3 teenage boys in the street. They just started blasting. I was sitting inside my parked car right across from them. Yeah, I heard the distinct popping sounds, and they were just wildly firing shots from that exact section over there in the street. I could not believe it. You saw them firing from this exact spot? No. They were standing right out in the open road before they sprinted away as fast as possible. Could you tell me exactly how many guys were firing? It was 3 of them. Every single one had a gun and pulled the trigger. I watched 3 young guys sprint away after a series of loud pops. Honestly, I totally assumed they were just shooting up at the sky. Man, following the brutal murder, police offered a $5,000 reward for tips. Detectives desperately needed fresh leads to identify these unknown suspects. On a completely different note, there is an entire hidden side of the internet, quietly collecting massive amounts of data on everyday people like us. We call these companies data brokers. You probably do not know them, but they certainly know a whole lot about you. Their whole business is grabbing your most private details and auctioning them off to the highest paying bidder. It is a simple hustle. They scrape your personal details and sell them to the highest bidder. Your data isn't just leaking by accident. It gets packaged, indexed, and legally sold as we speak. We have completely lost control of our digital identities. Now, anyone with cash can just buy you. The worst part, scammers and stalkers easily buy this info. 2. These creepy sites profit while leaving us completely exposed. And I honestly can't stand that. Legally, these data brokers have to delete your records if you ask. But of course, they make the opt-out process an absolute nightmare. Or you can do what I do. Protect yourself using Aura, the sponsor of this video. Aura actively hunts down the data brokers, exposing your details and fires off those opt-out requests for you. Give them a few weeks, and your personal info will vanish from those shady sites completely. Aura also runs continuous checks on the dark web. If any of my personal details leak, they warn me instantly. Plus, they cover me with up to $5 million in identity theft insurance. If the absolute worst happens, try Aura completely free for 14 days using my exclusive link, aura.com/mindofcriminal. That gives Aura plenty of time to check if your identity is currently at risk. What started as a tragic local shooting quickly spiraled into a massive challenge for one specific agency, the Saint Petersburg Police Department. It sparked a month-long manhunt, finally exposing a deeply disturbing truth about the killers. Right in the middle of this chaos, 17-year-old Deontay Bishop became the first suspect charged with Zikaro Lofton's murder. On December 30th, merely hours after the fatal gunfire, cops pulled Bishop over for a fake license plate. Right away, they found him carrying marijuana and a hidden firearm. But what really made Bishop stand out to homicide detectives wasn't just his massive rap sheet. It was his GPS ankle monitor. The tracking data placed him directly at the active crime scene during the shooting. With one guy in custody, investigators dug into witness statements. Multiple people reported seeing the victim desperately running from 3 attackers right before the gunshots. And pretty quickly, a matching description of a second suspect kept popping up, and detectives quickly secured a name. Come on, I don't even know what is happening. I will tell you in just a second. We will explain everything. Stop tensing up. Do you understand me? Yeah. Go ahead. Roll your sleeve up a bit. Finally, on February 14th, 2023, months after the fatal shooting, police tracked down and arrested David Moore for murder. Am I being detained right now or not? Yeah, me bad. I am officially being detained. They are going to explain everything to you once they get up here. Yes, sir. All right. What is that? I have no idea what is happening. He was hauled into the Saint Petersburg police station for a tough interrogation, completely unknown to David. Investigators already broke the first suspect, Deontay Bishop, who happily spilled all the dirty details. For the detectives, David Moore clearly played a massive role in this homicide. They just needed to nail down his exact involvement. You sure you don't want water? You good? I am exhausted. Okay, look, I want to chat with you about a few different things today. I just want to quickly run down exactly what happened out there. Like, how exactly did you end up wearing handcuffs today? I don't know anything about it. I was just told to come in and talk. Seriously, how did you end up in cuffs? What actually went down? Where were you tonight? Well, the cops, they ended up pulling me over. They pulled me and my dad over right around 18th Street. Okay, just somewhere over in that general neighborhood. Were you sitting in the passenger seat or were you driving the car? So, listen, I actually want to talk to you about your buddy Bishop today. Do you know who I mean? And do not lie. There is 0 point in lying. You know who I mean. No. Yes, you do. Because he was recently at your house. Like I said, there is no point in lying. I already know you are friends with Bishop. And honestly, that is totally fine. I am definitely not judging you. You are allowed to have friends. Your friends are your friends. Right, I totally get it. But you know the serious situation Bishop is in right now. No, you don't know anything about the mess Bishop is currently in. During the entire interrogation, David stubbornly denies any connection to Deontay Bishop or the murdered victim, Zikiro Lofton, but of course, digital evidence quickly surfaced, completely blowing his entire story apart. Burner phones, deleted online messages, and tiny clues convinced detectives that Moore and Bishop were definitely hanging out, both before and after that deadly December shooting. While David Moore played the victim, trying hard to make this look like a completely wrongful arrest, detectives quickly tied him to a criminal plot, way bigger than he wanted to admit. Do you know why he's locked up for the homicide? No. Mom, I have no idea. When did you actually talk to him last? I never talked on the phone with anyone. When did you last see him? I never saw him. I didn't see him. I don't even know who you are talking about right now. All right. Let me ask you this then. Have you ever been caught carrying a firearm? Or anything similar to that? Yeah, right before I got caught lately. Do you usually carry weapons on you? Do you normally pack heat? No. Then why did you pick up a handgun recently? No. I got caught with a firearm lately. I didn't just buy one. Look, if you got busted with a gun, you obviously had it. Yeah, right. So, have you ever sold ammunition or anything of that sort? Nothing like that at all. Okay, so just going by the name, do you know Zai? The kid murdered on 16th Street back in December. The 15-year-old never met Z. No. Have you ever heard of a gang called P4KO? Please. No. Never even heard of P4K. I stay out of trouble. I am not saying you are. No. I am not claiming you post on social media or anything like that. I just stay completely out of the way. So I have no clue what's happening. Do you have a job at all? Oh, no. How do you spend your days then? Like what? How do you spend your time? No, Instagram. No job. Seriously. What do you even do? I usually just play the game a lot. You play what, the game? Oh. What exactly do you play? Fortnite. Fortnite. Got it. You know where Bethel is? Right. Bethel. Bethel. Right across from John Middle School over there. Just south of the drop spot. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. So you know that small apartment building right over there. Yeah. All right. So Zai was murdered over there. Okay. And that is what got your buddy Bishop locked up. Okay. I really need you to start telling the truth about everything. Because you are going to catch charges. This is your only chance to speak up. Because if you stay quiet, I cannot help you out at all. Okay. So, that's what I'm sitting here for. That's why they grabbed me. You got pulled in for that incident. Yep. Well, that's just crazy. Yeah, it really is. Let's try again. Who is Bishop? I have no idea. I don't know. I really don't know. When did you last shoot a firearm? I have never fired a weapon yet. That specific gun you carried? Yeah, the one you were busted with. You never fired it, never. I never fired that M and P at all. You know what I mean? I never fired that M and P. Not even once. Not just that M and P. But no, that was the only weapon I owned. I never touched a single other firearm. Never shot anything else. Never loaded another gun. When the cops found that weapon, who was there with you? She already knows the whole story. I thought we were discussing it. No. I meant the last time, the prior incident, when you were arrested with that pistol. Who was standing with you? Jeremiah. All right, Jeremiah. What? For David Moore, the physical proof was practically a ghost. Amazingly, police found 0 fingerprints. Absolutely no DNA. And not one shell casing to prove he pulled the trigger. Detectives, however, followed a completely different trail. A path built entirely on criminal ties and the gang dynamics behind the murder. Cell phone data dropped him right at the crime scene during the actual shooting, proving Moore was never just an innocent witness. He rolled with the crew, even if he never actually fired the fatal shots himself. Look at me. Do you realize what is happening right now? Yes. Do you get what she's saying you are charged with? Yes, sir. What is it? Tell me so I know. Murder. Exactly. Right. Listen. The only person who can speak to the state attorney for you right now is her. Okay. I know this is incredibly overwhelming, but you've got to understand. You are down to your absolute last chance to give her the honest truth right now. You need to start by coming clean about whether you've had any past history with this guy. Just start by telling the truth about that part. Then we will figure out the rest. I want a lawyer. Okay, that's your right. With David Moore shutting down and requesting an attorney, detectives shifted focus to track down an unidentified suspect still on the streets. Just weeks following that second arrest, police got a massive tip about a Gibbs High School student. He was tied to the other suspects and brought a loaded weapon into class. On March 3, 2023, officers arrested 18-year-old Jeremiah Davis, pulled straight from class. This was the exact guy David Moore mentioned in his police interview. Using only a first name as the final target in this manhunt, detectives hauled Jeremiah Davis down to the station for a serious interrogation. You good with that water? Do you need anything else right now? You okay? All right. You're Mr. Davis, correct? This is my partner, Bobby. So, I don't really know exactly what they found on you at school today, but someone mentioned a firearm. Is that yours? That wasn't mine? Not yours. Then whose was it? Probably belongs to my little cousin. Who's your little cousin? I don't know. I really don't. You don't want to say. I honestly didn't know it was in there. I don't even bring a backpack to class. I just have, oh, you don't? No. I literally just bring a pencil, a pencil, my folder, and my charger. So you're saying that backpack isn't yours? And the weapon, I'm guessing, belongs to your younger cousin. Fair enough. Is that what you told them? Okay. Do you know absolutely anything about that weapon? No. What do you mean by that? Like, do you know what model it is? Or the caliber? I don't know. I'm not really into firearms. You don't know guns. All right. Did you ever touch it at all? Me, yeah. I probably did touch it. During the arrest at school, officers pulled a loaded pistol from Jeremiah's possession, which, according to the teen's story, belonged to his cousin instead of him. However, detectives eventually found a stash of guns, ammo, and narcotics. Police claimed these items tied him directly to the brutal homicide. What happened back at school, man? I have no idea. I really don't. I just know classes ended and I was leaving. Then Officer Bale just walked straight up and said he needed to talk. They walked me through those little double doors, slapped cuffs on my wrists, and put me in his office. I see. All right. Have you been locked up recently, me? Yeah. You. Have you been arrested any time in the past? Yeah. Sort of. Sort of when? Exactly. Are we talking the last couple months? Like before the holidays? Or after? Probably after Christmas. After Christmas. Okay. Look, I want to ask you about something serious that went down after the holidays. Right before you got arrested. All right. Did you hear anything about that kid Z getting murdered? I've heard whispers about it. What exactly have you heard? I don't really know. I'm definitely not in any street gang. You know, I just see people posting crazy stuff online. Well, what are you seeing on social media? Yeah, I know everyone's posting about this case. I'm just curious what kind of rumors are spreading. People are just disrespecting him. Things like that. What exactly are they saying? Disrespecting the victim, how so? Give me an example. Saying they're smoking on him. You know, got it. That's wild. Do you know what crew he hung out with? I didn't even know him like that. Probably just saw his face scrolling social media. So you've never met him? Nope. Never crossed paths with him at all. Have you heard of him at all? I might have heard about his cousin. But who is his cousin? Who's this cousin? I don't know. I know they call him, yeah. But what's his street name? Like A something. A something for his cousin, probably A1. Okay. The details of the shooting proved these suspects weren't strangers to Zakiro Lofton. They all ran in the same circle. Digital evidence showed the other two people involved, Deontay Bishop and David Moore, didn't just know Jeremiah Davis. They were tight. Good friends who kept in contact with the victim right up until the night he died. It was obvious these three were directly involved in the homicide. Still, the real question remained. Why did they pull the trigger? So, other than hearing his name and people talking trash about him. Right. Were you there that night? No. Ma'am, were you even close to the area? No. Mom, where were you then? Do you remember? Like, I was home. You were home at 2511 10th Avenue. Got it. You stayed home the whole night watching the baby. Oh, watching the baby. You do remember the night I'm asking about? Right, the night the guy got killed. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Lisa. Okay, just to jog your memory a bit. That was December 29th. Okay, so it was right after Christmas, before you got picked up on whatever day. Tell me about your friend Bishop and more. What about him? I'm pretty sure you're well aware of Bishop's current situation. Right, oh, yeah. Heard about that. You heard about it. How exactly did you find out? I don't really know. I just woke up from a nap. I was just scrolling on Facebook and stuff, and I saw a news article pop up right there. Oh, gotcha. All right. And what about your guy Moore? Are you guys tight or what? No, not really. Just somewhat. No, I haven't spoken a word to him since he got booked. For real, for real. Wait, for which one? Both of them. You haven't spoken to either since they got arrested. Okay, have you heard about any beef with Z? Like why someone would actually want to kill the guy? You haven't heard a single thing about that? Nothing at all? Okay, so just to make sure I'm clear, and correct me if I'm wrong here, please, you haven't spoken to either one since they were locked up? No? Okay, so neither of them have called your phone. Obviously, you know Bishop's situation. Do you know Moore's situation? No, not really. He hasn't talked to you at all. I haven't spoken to him since that day. Just that one time. Has his dad talked to you about anything? Have you looked up his charges online? No. I don't really know how to look up all that jail stuff. Not gonna lie. Do you even know what Bishop is being charged with? Nah. No. Okay. So you have no idea what Bishop caught charges for. You don't know what Moore is charged with. I mean, I think he got charged with murder. Okay. And you don't know what Moore caught. Look, Moore is charged with murder as well. And you're also getting charged with murder. Yes. Wait, I'm getting charged with murder because, do you remember when you got arrested last time? Yeah. Okay. That gun you had on you, we have this fancy forensic system that matches shell casings to firearms, and that puts you right at my homicide scene. Let me ask you this. Let's try it this way. Is there anything you told Detective Johnson today that maybe wasn't 100% truthful? All right. Not everything I said was true. Okay. Because we're willing to make it water under the bridge. We can start fresh. If there's something you're afraid to admit, or just hesitant to say right now, and you want another shot at it, listen. Right now is your chance to come clean. Tell her exactly who you have spoken with, everywhere you went, and every last detail. All right. Have you ever heard of Pedro? Who is Pedro? That is someone I know. Right. That is you. Pedro is you. I know you already lied about the jail calls. I have the record showing he called you from lockup several times. Actually, both of them did. Look, I already have those facts. So why would you try lying to a detective over something as basic as receiving phone calls from jail? All right. Yeah. Do you see what I mean? Look, I literally just asked you that. Man, honestly, if you are lying about the phone calls, what else are you trying to hide? Do you see where I am going with this? Look me in the eye. Please. I am sorry. Do you understand my perspective here? Because if you lie to me over a simple jail call, what is next? As investigators boxed Jeremiah Davis in with mounting evidence and fresh witness statements that totally destroyed his version of events, they finally broke him, piecing together the dark truth of how Zakiro Lofton was murdered. Look, I get it. This is a really tough subject to discuss. Okay, but listen. You have to remember that there are three sides to this crime. There is your version. Moore has his, and Bishop has his, and they already spilled their guts. Do you honestly think they will take the fall? Or will they pin the murder on somebody else? All right, let us back up. Who exactly were you hanging out with that night? Early on, I was probably smoking weed in the car with Johnny. Who is Johnny? Someone I know. Okay. After that, I ended up hanging out with Mo. Right. We went back to his place. We were just hanging out. And some crazy stuff happened. Yeah. Define crazy. Obviously, this entire homicide case is wild. I am definitely not denying that fact. Right. I totally get it. I know confessing is tough to do, but you arrive at his place. And then what goes down? Well, we were just chilling out. All right. And then what time did Bishop arrive? Later? Much later. Okay. So what happened next? We were driving. Oh, I see. Were you sitting way back in the rear seat? And then everything just blew up? But what exactly happened? I need facts. Honestly, I do not even know why the shooting kicked off. All I know is the guy tried to steal something. Who did? The guy. Look at me. Please. You mean the victim? Zedit. So Zai tried to steal from who exactly? Bishop? From Bishop. Right. What did he try to steal? Narcotics? Was that a yes? Okay. What kind of stash? Weed? Coke? Or heroin? Tell me. Vape? Marijuana? Exactly how much did he grab? Did he actually get away with it? Somewhat. Like, I do not know. Maybe a quarter ounce. Okay. How exactly did he steal the drugs? He asked to inspect it. Okay. Then he bolted off. You saw him do that? Yeah, I saw it. Were Mo and Bishop watching? And they witnessed the theft too. All right. Where were you positioned when he ran? How much distance was between everyone? I was stuck in a terrible seat. Wait. So, you are telling me this drug deal happened inside a vehicle? Did Zai ever climb inside? No. The car? Yeah. That is exactly what I am trying to piece together. How did it happen? How could you possibly see anything? You were trapped in a dark car late at night. That is the part making zero sense to me. Listen. My seat was bad. The guy just snatched the bag of weed and started running up the block. So what did you guys do? Chased him? Then, things just escalated fast. What does that mean? You cops already know what went down. Based on Jeremiah's confession, the chaotic events sparking that fatal December 29th shooting all started over a botched drug deal. Things went sideways between Deontay Bishop and the 15-year-old victim, Zed Kakiro Lofton. Jeremiah claimed he was just a bystander. He swore he had zero involvement in the drug deal or the deadly shooting, a story the investigators completely rejected. Debunked when shell casings from the exact weapon he was arrested with were found scattered around the murder scene. That alone was damning enough. But unfortunately for Jeremiah Davis, investigators held way more proof, turning the rest of this interrogation into a breeze. We didn't even know. We really didn't know who the guy was. Seriously though, how could you not know who it was? I just don't buy that. We were just riding down the street, then we spotted somebody, but we honestly had no clue who it was. Okay, so when exactly did you figure out his identity then? No, like, you know what I mean here. So what do you actually think? I just mean he was walking out somewhere. We were out on the main road. Right. Yep. Right. Then we spot someone. We turn right then. Yeah. Did you ever actually step out of the car? Okay. Can you look at me? Please. Because I know you're lying. I didn't do it. Yes, you did. It's on camera. It is on video. How many times did you actually shoot? Why, once. Once? Okay. Just a single time. Maybe one or two. One or two? Okay. Was your weapon fully loaded? Nah. Do you know how many bullets were in it? About 6. Did Bishop and Moore fire? You would know since you were standing there. Look right at me. Please. Yeah. Jeremiah. Can you look at me? Thank you. So, what exactly did they shoot? Or how many times did those two fire? I bolted. You ran. Did you guys take off together? I ran off by myself. I really don't know. Okay. Well, I know that is a lie too, because that part is also on camera. What I am trying to understand is how 3, since you are just a kid. Right, you are 18. The other 2 are similar in age. You, Bishop, and Moore are all similar ages. And you guys gunned down a 15-year-old over a quarter of weed. So now I have to make a mother bury her kid, who is your age, over a little bit of weed. Does that honestly seem worth it? No? Even though Jeremiah later offered more details about that night, homicide investigators had already pieced together the main events. The timeline started on December 29th, 2022. Jeremiah Davis met up with David Moore and Deontay Bishop to smoke and just cruise the streets. Phone records showed that right around 9 p.m., Deontay Bishop texted the victim, Zet Kakiro Lofton, who wanted to buy some drugs. A few minutes later, close to 9:10 p.m., Z Kakiro left the Citrus Grove apartments to meet Deontay Bishop. Things escalated fast when the teen grabbed the stuff and bolted without paying. That sparked absolute chaos. The whole group chased Z Kakiro and cornered him near the intersection of 9th Avenue South and 16th Street South in Saint Petersburg, Florida. They just opened fire, unleashing nearly 30 rounds total. Somehow, Lofton managed to sprint toward a nearby gas station before finally collapsing. Later that night, paramedics rushed him to John Hoskins All Children's Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Were you guys discussing this beforehand? Like, you were obviously furious. So that is the part I am stuck on. Was this just a crime of opportunity? It honestly just happened out of nowhere. We never talked about it. Things shifted. It all just went so bad. Okay. Do you know how many shots were fired total? Like between all of you, I heard a few shots. Yeah. Okay. What happens when you spot Z? Did you shout out to him? Did you holler at him? We just stopped. You guys stopped. You stopped walking. Okay. And then what went down? Because something clearly made you guys pull those triggers. Right, like we discussed. I'm just trying to figure out what exactly that was. Everything just happened in a blur. Who recognized him first? Like, I'm picturing it that somebody was like, hey, there is Z, or whatever you guys call him. And I just can't remember. Okay, just making sure I have this right. So he took your stuff, stole some weed. Right, yeah. You had no idea it was him, but you started blasting anyway. Sound a bit reckless? Not really. You guys dumped over 20 bullets. Mine only fired twice because it ended up jamming. It yammed. Got it. Investigators dug back through the homicide evidence. They needed to see who really pulled the strings. But the truth was clear. All 3 suspects shared equal blame for Zeke Lofton losing his life. The court made sure their heavy sentences reflected that exact harsh reality. On December 29th, St. Pete police reported 15-year-old Zeke Kuro Lofton walking near the 9th and 16th Street gas station. It was about 9 p.m. Court warrants show 3 different shooters just opened fire on Lofton. Police quickly cuffed 2 teens, 18-year-old David Moore and 17-year-old Deontay Bishop. Detectives confirmed both guys were right there at the scene, so they were slapped with felony murder charges straight away. Once the trial kicked off, the criminal evidence against them was absolutely undeniable. But the real shocker was Deontay Bishop. People could not believe he was tied to 2 separate killings just months apart. Back in November 2022, Deontay crashed his dad's car without a license and totally bolted from the scene. The victim, 87-year-old Denry Gale, tragically did not survive his injuries. Deontay, but officers eventually locked him up. Insanely enough, he posted a $5,000 bond and walked free weeks later. This guy was already on their radar for driving without a license. He even did community service right before the fatal crash. Just 48 hours after posting bail, he killed again, all over a bag of weed. Fast forward to May 2025. A judge handed David Moore and Deontay Bishop life behind bars for murdering 15-year-old Zakiro Lofton. The third suspect, Jeremiah Davis, faces his own trial early next year. This case is a devastating reminder of how quickly reckless choices, peer influence, and a desire for control can spiral into irreversible tragedy. What began as a simple drug transaction between teenagers turned into a violent chain of events that ended the life of a 15-year-old boy and destroyed multiple futures in the process. One of the most important lessons here is that small decisions can carry massive consequences. A text message, a meeting, or a split-second reaction to feeling disrespected can escalate beyond anything anyone ever intended. Once violence enters the equation, there is no undo button, only consequences that last forever. This case also highlights the dangerous power of group mentality. When individuals act together, responsibility becomes blurred, and accountability is often pushed away until it's too late. Each person involved tried to minimize their role, but evidence ultimately revealed how interconnected their actions truly were. Most importantly, this story shows that silence, denial, and denial of responsibility do not erase the truth. Modern investigations can reconstruct events with overwhelming accuracy through phones, witnesses, and digital traces. At its core, this is not just a crime story, it is a warning, a reminder that loyalty to the wrong people, impulsiv and poor judgment can permanently change lives. One moment of chaos was enough to end a young life and send others toward decades behind bars.